on reduction of religious abuses, and we have on the phone line the founder of Alliance for Christian Advocacy African, Reverend Dr. Kwabena Opunifrimpong, to share with us the basis for his commendation. Good afternoon, Reverend, and thank you so much for joining us on News Hour.
Good afternoon, and let me say good afternoon to your charity viewers.
Well, this is the first time I'm interviewing you, so happy in this year, so happy New Year to you.
Many happy returns. That is my pleasure.
Reverend, what do you refer to as religious abuses during 31st December watch night services?
Yes. Let me use your platform to commend the Ghana Police Service, the various media houses, and especially leaders of the faith-based organizations for the role that they have all played in the significant reduction of religious abuses, especially at the end of the year, various watch night services. I must prove that we as church leaders are able to do the things we're able to do in Ghana because of our law, because of the Constitution. There are things we do in Ghana that police pastors just in Ivory Coast, Rwanda, and African countries cannot do. We are able to do, from churches simply because the Constitution gives us some space. And the same Constitution also guarantees the rights of other Ghanaians, their freedom, their security. And that is why when pastors go to church, and in the name of spiritual gifts, prophecy, you announce a young lady celebrity will be raped, and you mention her name. Somebody will be gunned down, and you mention the person's name, and you add a date. People who are not being Christians, members of our churches, you mention their name, and you pronounce death. Now, we must know that such people also deserve some level of privacy, and their privacy must be respected. And when the police come in to tell us that these are human rights abuses, and so take care, they are not in any way persecuting us. I don't see it as such. They are only helping us to serve Ghanaians better. They are helping us to refine our work. Years ago, we've been doing this, and there is somebody kept quiet. We must know that we can't continue like that. And that is why we are commending the police service by cautioning our police. Let us strengthen our various legal department so that we will have strong, healthy legal knowledge to do the work that we are supposed to do for the glory of God and the betterment of the people we serve in this country.
So, Reverend, on what basis are you suggesting that religious abuses during last year's 31st December watch night services reduced significantly? Do you have any data to support your claim?
Data is in fact, the Ghana Police Service also say they are studying videos and other things that they have also seen. But previous years, immediately after the 31st December watch night service, then you on our airways, you find names coming up and people expressing their dissatisfactions and disappointments, and you find instances where some young people, when they heard that their religious leader was going to die through prophecy by a prophet, rushed to certain churches, threw stones and did some uncomfortable things. Now, if you assess beginning of this year, you realize that the airways are not reporting such things, specific names and celebrities, traditional leaders, politicians, who are going to, die like we've been witnessing. So on this initial basis, we are saying at least we are witnessing some significant reduction. We hope moving forward, there are other things that we have yet to do. We put all of them together and do better assessment. But the initial assessment suggests that there have been significant reductions.
Per what you're saying, as we all know, prophecies are under the direction of God Almighty. So from what you're saying, does that mean that the various prophets or pastors who used to give those prophecies were not under the direction of God, and they just will come out mentioning names? And if really it's under the direction of God, why should we not let the pastors or the prophets speak and tell us what God is directing them to tell us?
That's not exactly. You know, we function within a context. And for instance, there are ethical standards that we must uphold. For instance, if a church member walks to me and makes a certain confession, Pastor, I have done X, Y, Z, I've made mistakes. Till I have that church member's permission, I don't have any right to go and stand before church members and say, you know, this church member, brother, sister and so, sister and so, he or she is a wicked person. He has done X, Y, Z. The confidentiality of that person must be guaranteed. I must know that I operate within a legal framework. So it doesn't mean I'm not a man of God. But in operating as a man of God, I must also be mindful of the context within which I function, the respect, the approval, and the disapproval, and imitation. So the Ghana Police Service is not saying don't prophesy. In fact, during the one night services, there have been several prophecies, promises, prayers, and I'm not sure the Ghana Police Service will go and change anybody in the name of spiritual gifts, in the name of prayer prophecy. But if, and James in the Bible, James will say that if we lack wisdom, now this is where we are talking about it. In doing your work, be mindful of the environment within which you operate, so that as the Lord of Ghana protects you, apostle or prophet, to do your job, be mindful that the only person also whose rights are the Constitution guarantee is also respect. But this is what we are talking about. Not don't prophesy, but be mindful that other people equally also have rights and freedom. And let's add that religious abuses are not different from abuses that take place at the workplace, in the marketplace, academic environment, in marriages. If your husband and you've abused your wife, whatever, whether you are a prophet, you are whatever, it's abuse. It's taken our conscious people abuses the abuses. In one way, do it and test. Although we are talking about religious abuses, and we can never hide behind religion to abuse Ghanaians.
So we can't say now that a statement by the police cautioning religious leaders to be measured in their prophecies account for the reduction?
They have made significant contributions. I have served as General Secretary of Christian Council of Ghana for some time a year before. And this issue is an existential challenge that meetings upon meetings, we have message agencies. At the point the church leaders were even recommending that give us laws to handle this, and we were told in meetings that we have enough laws in our book. We don't need new laws. So what the Ghana Police Service is doing at the moment, it seems to me, they are only activating existing laws. And therefore, they have made significant contributions by activating the law. Seriously, they have not done anything new. They have only drawn attention to existing laws that maybe over the years we have overlooked. But now they are saying, moving forward, let us be cautious about the things we do. So to some large extent, the statement or the caution statement from the Ghana Police Service made a significant contribution to the reduction that we witnessed just the end of last year.
So should the law on publication of information, including prophecies that have the tendency to cause fear and panic or put people's lives in danger, be limited to only 31st December night?
Not exactly. So the second statement of the Ghana Police Service also addressed the issue that you are just raised. That it is not just 31st December, but if you are a media house and you allow anybody, not necessarily even a prophet, but anybody to sit on your platform and start announcing, I'll kill somebody by the close of day, I'll make sure you are dead, this person will be raped, this kind of thing. Now what they are saying is, if I'm not only pastor, but if you are a pastor, if you do it in January, you do it in June, you do it in September, you are wrong. If you are not a pastor, you are this modern day superstar, whatever, musician, artist, you are wrong. So they are forcing all of us. If you are a politician and you think you can go around pronouncing death on other people, you are wrong. So it's a caution statement for all of us. I'm a religious person. I would limit myself to what myself and my colleagues, prophets, what we do.
Sure. So finally, what can churches do to enhance the legal education of members and leaders?
Yes, you know, some churches already have legal departments. So some of them, when they are reading the court, provide lawyers read through and just caution that you won't go subject to it. I went to Christian Council of Ghana some years ago. Even when we draft statements, community, there are lawyers and people with legal brains who will tell you, you should go this way, you are crossing red line. I was encouraging churches to have legal departments, and those who already have them, allow the people who have knowledge in the laws of our life to educate. We need to increase legal knowledge. We need to appreciate the content, the legal content that we have. Churches must increase in knowledge. And one area we must increase in knowledge is in the area of law, so that we will know the limits that we have and cut the prospects that we have. What the law allows us to do and what the laws of this country do not allow us to do. We need legal education, and it seems to me a legal department can facilitate and enhance this aspect of our ministry as church people.
Thank you very much for your time. And Reverend Dr. Kwabena Frimpong is the founder of Alliance for Christian Advocacy Africa. Now, let's do some story on telecommunication. And the National Communication Authority, NCA, has announced measures to ease the human condition, which has characterized the ongoing nationwide SIM re-registration exercise. As part of the measures to address the challenges, the NCA says it will embark on deployment of various ad hoc registration points at various public areas, including lorry parks, churches, and mosques, to help control the crowd at the customer care centers. The authority said regarding this policy, announcements will be made to update the public on the availability of such ad hoc registration points in the respective localities. The Deputy Director of Consumer and Corporate Affairs at the National Communications Authority, Mr. Kwame Jan, has joined us on the phone to tell us more about the new measures. Good afternoon, Mr. Jan, and thank you so much for joining us on News Hour.
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Right. Is the NCA going to use the existing outlets of the telcos or add new ones for the exercise?
Well, so as of now, clearly the existing customer care centers and telcos will not be enough for us to do the exercise. That's why various other avenues have been laid down by the telcos to ensure that they have enough presence on the ground for the exercise. So, for example, they have distributor shops which are not owned by the telcos, but who work with the telcos. They have agent shops where some of their agents operate from, and they also have the division of the telcos to operate. Again, as you rightly mentioned, some of them actually have already begun doing if you like, pop-up shops or stands at various mosques, chapels, and some market circles or squares, and then lorry stations, all in a bid to ensure that they bring their services as close as possible to consumers to register. Let me just mention that people should not necessarily wake up at dawn to go line up at the customer care centers that they know of MNOs. There's no needing. I mean, it's not necessary to do all of those. All of these other channels have been open to ensure that consumers have easy access to these other outlets to be able to register.
So the other channels that will be open, are you doing it in line with the telcos, or is the NCA having a different outlet for this exercise, and when will this take effect?
So SIM registration is primarily the mandate of the service provider or the MS, or the telcos as we call it. It is their job to ensure that anyone who has a SIM card gets registered. So it's actually the telcos actually leading this. What we have done at NCA is to facilitate certain other avenues to help what they are doing. We've been in touch with GIFEC for them to avail towards some of their community information. And this we've already communicated to the telcos so that anyone that feels that in a particular area they need to have the CICs or GIFEC to you are able to do so. We again told the telcos that NCA has 8 offices across the country. In Bolga, in Tamale, in Sunyani, in Ho, in Takrade, in Koshodia, in Sunyani and Accra. We've given the spaces in these shops for them to set up camp to ensure that they research people. So these are things that we are hoping, as I mentioned before, some of them are already underway. Activations in churches and mosques and marketplace have started. We're hoping to see an uptick of these centers, more of them, and then be able to go there instead of everybody else rushing to their known customer care centers to queue up to register.
Mr. John, let us know this. Are customers supposed to pay a fee at any of these points?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
But we have information of some being asked to pay.
So you see, there are always unscrupulous people who want to take advantage of people's inconveniences to make profit out of that. But the exercise to register has absolutely no cost implication to the customer. So, for example, I mean, I'm sure what you're trying to do is the case where someone thinks that, okay, people are going to come here to come and queue to register, so let me just go there, block spaces, and then sell the spaces to other people. Don't give anybody any kind of money for no reason. It's illegal, it's not allowed. Indeed, if you see anybody who's charging you for this, please advise to report to the NCA or to your MNO. That's against those people. This exercise has no cost whatsoever to any consumer or any customer of the MNOs.
So let's know, will the measures apply to only places where there is congestion or at the offices of the telcos, or will it be extended to all communities in the country?
We know that in some areas, the distance between where people live and the nearest distributor shop, or maybe even the customer care can be a distance. These are some of the things that MNOs are looking at to look at, okay, what is the closest registration within a certain neighborhood? They will then decide to create that pop-up stand to do registration there. So yes, it's open to all other areas across the country, not just where there are congestion. Of course, I mean, typically for us in Ghana, the largest concentration of people who have mobile devices are in the big towns of Accra, Kumasi, Takrade, and Cape Coast, and Tamale and the rest of them. But you know that there are other people who use our services of these telcos who are in a lot of deprived areas or areas that are further away from the main town. And so the idea is to ensure that all of these towns are also reached with some of the activation so that you can chance to register and not just people in the big towns and cities.
Can you tell us, why do customers need their biodata to be taken if these data have already been captured during the registration of the NIA cards?
Thank you for that question. So essentially, this is how it is like. One of the challenges we have currently is the case where people have got SIM cards that were pre-registered before they bought them. That's it. That's a crime. That's illegal to start off with. There are cases where the cards that people have used to register were not able to be verified. So we cannot tell that the card that this person has indeed is his name on that card or not. So there are a lot of people who have cards whose are not in their names. Now, what you did for the NIA was you give the NIA the details. And NIA is a central body who's established by law in this country to give out for the Ghana card or the central ID card leader. What you did was to register for a Ghana card. You did not register for the SIM card. So when you go and then your bio details are captured, what we do is that we verify that the person stand before us is indeed the person SIM card this is, and not the case where Parmesan goes to steal somebody else's SIM card and wants to register in that SIM card to use it for some other purposes. So that this will verify that the person stand before us is indeed the owner of the card. So when you take your bio details, you only compare it, not you only submit it to the NIA to ensure that indeed you are the truthful owner of the SIM card standing before the agent.
Well, we have the information circulating online purported to be a process by which MTN customers can complete their registration process without having to go to the registration centers. Is this true? And how realistic, if it is, how realistic is this, especially if a customer needs the bio data to be captured?
Okay, so what's happening now is because of the congestion issue that we just discussed a while ago, some people show up at the customer care because they have issues with their SIM cards. Some of them have shown up likely because the name that is on the SIM card is not their own names, because of some other issue or the other. So they go through, they stay in queue for that long, get before the agent, and ask people to understand that the name is not mine. How do I think it's my name? So you end up spending a lot more time on other matters outside the re-registration process itself. So what in this case, what you just described is a case where one telco says that for us to ensure that we have all of these software before we can put the agent for a bio capture, go online with it up, and then before you show up at the agent to have your bio details taken. It does not replace the bio capture that you are doing for verification. It doesn't. It only ensures that they know your customer details that the agency, that the MNO has, are indeed accurate before you show up there for the bio capture to be done. So it doesn't replace this at all in any way.
So will the March deadline for the re-registration of SIM cards be extended? If yes, for how long?
It's a bit too early for us to make that call. Mind you, we have 3 more months ago. We started this process on 1st October. And as we have known, between that time and until last week, there were no issues of queues at various places. And typically for most Ghanaians, we tend to wait until the last minute that we rush for it to be done.
Yeah.
Now, the ministry will announce whether or not they will extension to this. But as I said, it's a bit too early in the day. But this is early January. Maybe after January has passed, February, going to February, and then we know the numbers that we have, the ministry will then decide to extend this exercise and for what period or that is just to let us all know. But for now, it still remains the first month. See, the thing with Ghanaians is this: when assuming we announce that it's the extension of this, everyone has to go to sleep, and you all wake up and wait to check to the end of the exercise, and then the queues will show up again.
Sure.
We don't want it to happen. So it is. The Ministry of Communications at the right time will announce it.
Well, early days yet. Thank you very much for your time. I'm afraid that's all time will give us for this interview. We really appreciate your time. And that was the Deputy Director of Consumer and Corporate Affairs of the National Communications Authority, Mr. Kwame Jan. Now move to a community near Adan, and a resident of Anyakpo, a farming community in the Adan East district of the Greater Accra region, Madam Vida Itiekpo, is appealing for support to enable her 15-year-old son, Robin Kunyabo, undergo treatment for spinal injury. According to her, her son suffered the spinal injury after he accidentally fell from a coconut tree, and that has rendered him immobile in his limbs. She disclosed to GBC News that her son's situation has drained all her financial resources.
Ruben Kunyabo is a class 4 pupil who has been out of school for over 5 months. Recounting the story, the distraught mother, Vidaya Tiakpo, said the son accidentally fell from a coconut tree and hit his waist against a borasos palm tree. He developed a spinal injury as a result.
Yabi Ruben Kunyabo, Enga Skuyanga, Iskewuno, Malalata School, Enga P4. Venenya gbaye se fafo ba hinale ibaje kolone ba jane ne waloko e paskuo jalenche ya wale maya pana lokoje mananya manyi le maye.
He has been bedridden since then. He can barely do anything without assistance.
I
can't move my limbs. Please help me to get better.
They discontinued treatment at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital because of lack of funds. Madame Vidaya Tiakpo, who raised ducks for sale, said she has sold all her ducks because of the financial burden and now lives at the mercy of the public. She is reaching out to donors to raise funds to resume treatment.
I already lost 2 of my 6 children and wouldn't want to lose another. I don't have any sources of funding than to appeal for help.
Alo 1 CD. Emi wahami. Inne no ko inge walo la na ata no ko he. Alo ma une ta no ko tui. Ne eba wami ne yebi Ruben Kunyabo ne etesi ami ne maudie mi. Ole inge pe pa Ghana makla awami. Yebi Ruben Kunyabo ne etesi ami.
Ruben Kunyabo further appealed to churches and individuals for support to enable him to get back on his feet and resume schooling. Donations can be sent to mobile money number 0240-526-019 with account name Vida Yetiekpo.
Well, no amount is too little. Please donate for a worthy cause. It has many natural resources which should ordinarily make indigenes wealthy, but the narrative on this side of town is different. The people here are poor simply because they are unable to trade properly in bigger cities or surrounding communities to make a decent living. Being a farming and fishing community, most of their produce go bad and so they run at a loss. This is the story of Ajane, a small community in the western region, and their quest for change. Beatrice Senaju tells us more.
As I prepared to make the trip to the western region, I began researching for areas of interest. So Ejan it was. It popped up as one of the communities, and knowing virtually nothing about it, I had to prepare as best as I could. Unfortunately, the information online was not helpful, so Google Maps provided its exact location. It put it somewhere along the western coastline. Armed with information, my team and I hit the road for the adventure. It was a smooth 9-hour journey to Axim Junction and another 1 hour to Ejan village. Our shaky shots are enough proof of the deplorable roads. This brought to mind how the inhabitants, especially farmers and drivers, commute to the market centers with their produce. Within an hour, the team arrived at our final destination. I stepped onto the street, hoping to catch some interesting sights. To my dismay, everything looked still. Ejan is a fishing and farming community in the western region with about 700 residents. From history, the town was named after a tree located there known as Ejan. The people migrated from Mori in the central region and settled here over 10 decades ago. The people speak Fanti, Nzima and Chi. Ejan is surrounded on one side by the sea and the other by a forest cover. It has a scattered settlement with beautiful rock formation at vantage points near the sea. This particular forest cover, I'm told, is a sacred place for the indigenes. They believe their ancestors have been their backbone over the years.
Almost 10 years. Them to the young 6 million. Why you know? 2008. Namka ya the man. That year, and no more children on.
Fishermen here set off on their fishing expedition, often at dawn and return in the evening. This is where brisk business begins. I had a chat with these fishermen and they tell me their fishing business is gradually dipping and this is adversely affecting them every day.
We used to have a bumper harvest when we went fishing, but things have changed in recent times.
These days, when we go fishing, we catch a lot of seaweed. This is taking a toll on our pockets.
Residents of Ejan are also actively involved in agriculture, with their focus being on rubber. With all these possible areas of making a living, youth unemployment is high in the community. The few that are engaged in agriculture are thinking of making a switch due to the many challenges in the sector. They complain bitterly about post-harvest losses.
We have a lot of cassava here, but no one buys it. We sometimes reduce the price to get something small.
We need loans to start something new because the fishing business is no longer lucrative. With the rubber cultivation, it takes years to get value for money.
With the poor roads here, traders, farmers, teachers, nurses and drivers say they are all negatively affected.
In business, the sale of textbooks and stationery is gradually picking up as students are going back to school after the Christmas and New Year break. Traders who spoke to GBC News at the Central Business District in Accra said business is quite slow as many parents seem to have invested in the Christmas festivities with little to spend on books and stationery for their wards in the next academic year.
This is the Central Business District of Accra, which is characterized by its usual hustle and bustle. For traders of books and stationery, both on pavements and in book depots, they are yet to have the usual human traffic to their shops as schools are yet to reopen. The bulk sale of books and stationery is mostly seasonal because such materials are largely patronized when schools reopen or are in session. Although some schools from the kindergarten to junior high schools will be reopening from the 9th of January, operators of books and stationery stores in the Central Business District of Accra say sales are yet to pick up. Sales representatives Madam Philomena Yuenchi and Madam Adwa Boating lent the slow patronage to changes in the syllabus and teachers selling their textbooks in their various schools.
As school is resuming, we expect the market to be that lively and stuff, but it seems because of the change of plans in the academic year, the season is not really that active.
The
teachers should leave the selling of the textbooks to us to sell. We need the money to cater for ourselves.
Other traders, Mr. Rich Dowusu, Victoria Quason, and Malik Dadzi, said they hope they can break even this season as most customers are rather window shopping.
By the grace of God, as you can see, they are buying. So I think everything is okay now.
Prices, some are just the same as it is, but others have gone a bit higher. So that's why I'm sitting here. You have to do readjustment and see where you fix what, so I don't also run at a loss.
They are just doing window shopping.
For many of these traders, their goods were put on the blind side of customers as they were busily shopping for the Christmas festivities. With the season over, they are hopeful to reap in some cash as the dates for reopening gets close.
Government seems to be putting brakes in the implementation of the reversal of benchmark values on some 43 imported items captured in the 2022 budget. However, the convener of the Ghana Rice Millers Association, Mr. Yao Edupoku, says the benefit to be derived in the reversal of the benchmark values exceeds maintaining the status quo. He was speaking on GBC News' Market Avenue program.
Of what is prevailing on the streets. And I think this will let them have a better understanding and a clear decision to make. I still stand and say that the benchmark value that had been reversed should be reversed. The reason is that no country has prospered with only trading. If we are producing locally and trading, then it makes good sense and it helps to build the economy. But where the trading is 90% imported, then it means that whatever revenue the government gets is changed into foreign currency and then sent outside to bring in for traders to trade. And that is not good for any country. No country on earth does this. But it looks as if we have the penchant to do this in Ghana because that is the easier way out, and that is not helping to create employment. That is not helping to grow the economy. And today it was palpable. We all saw it, that almost to a month, all the industries are on their knees. And some were projecting that, it's inefficiency in the system, that the manufacturers are not good enough, but that is a fallacy. Ghanaians are one of the hard-working people. And the point is that without the Guta end, we the manufacturers will be at sea because we need Guta to help to
sell the product.
To sell the product. So Guta should be there. But then the question I asked was, is it necessary for us to be at loggerheads as if we are enemies fighting? That should not be the case. We should have a clear-cut agenda as to how to sort this situation out.
Now some international news. Ethiopia's government says it will free several prominent